Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Rosin Shafira binti Muhammad Rosli with the metric number 2021358087, and today I will present about an analysis of corporate financial performance of the two companies which are Consortium Transnational Berhad and Perak Transit Berhad. Before I started the ratio part, I would like to talk about the introduction of both companies. Firstly, Consortium Transnational Berhad. It is the largest operator of public bus transportation in Malaysia. It provides the most extensive coverage throughout Peninsular Malaysia. It also covering all major cities and towns as well as Singapore. Finally, it made its debut on Bursa Malaysia on June 15, 2007. Next is Perak Transit Berhad. It is incorporated in Malaysia on 5 September 2008 as a private limited company. It converted to a public company on 26 March 2010. Its principal activity is investment holding. It also made an impressive debut on Bursa Malaysia on the October 6, 2016. After it made its debut, the day after that, it's surging 40% against the issue price of 15 cents per share. Financial ratio analysis is divided into two, which is trend analysis and cross-sectional analysis. Trend analysis is a form of comparative analysis. It generally uses percentage or ratios to compare information. It is designed to look for trends. Cross-sectional analysis, it takes several periods of information and compares them from period to period. It compares changes according to the year. There is 4 types of ratio, which are: first, liquidity ratio; second, activity ratio; third, debt ratio or leverage ratio; and fourth, profitability ratio. And the first one, I will talk about the trend analysis of the first company, which is Consortium Transnational Berhad. As you can see, this is all the calculation for us to analyze the company's performance using the liquidity ratio, activity ratio, debt ratio, and profitability ratio for both company. This is for the Consortium Transnational Berhad, and the next one is Perak Transit Berhad. Next, we will see the comparative study or cross-sectional analysis of the both company. I took the latest year, which is 2020, for us to compare. And here, as we can see from the table, I put it side by side for us to compare the two companies at the same year. This is as usual for all 4 analysis, which is liquidity ratio, activity ratio, debt ratio, and profitability ratio. Next is the conclusion. To conclude all of the analysis of the both company above, what I can say is, overall, Perak Transit has a better performance compared to Consortium Transnational Berhad. If we look one by one, starting from the liquidity ratio for KTB has a worse coverage for short-term creditor. This shows that Perak Transit is in the better condition in terms of liquidity position compared to KTB. Next, if we look at the activity ratio, we can detect that KTB activity ratio is a bit better than Perak Transit. But even if KTB has a higher ratio than Perak Transit, both companies is actually in a difficult position as the ratio is below than 1, and we can conclude that even if a company is better at the liquidity, it does not mean the company will be better at activity ratio too. Besides that, for the debt ratio, when I analyze the data, I can say that both the company are quite good in managing the debt of the company, as the ratio is quite low, especially Perak Transit, as the company has a percentage of below 1% compared to KTB. Finally, I analyze the profitability ratio, which indicates the gross profit margin and net profit margin. The profitability ratio of Perak Transit seemed to be increasing from the year 2018 to 2020. So it shows that Perak Transit Berhad is also increasing in terms of profitability condition. Meanwhile, in the case of KTB, Throughout 2018 to 2020, it has a trend of decreasing and it consistently below 0%. What I can conclude from all the analysis, Perak Transit has a better performance compared to Consortium Transnational Berhad, excluding the activity ratio, where Consortium Transnational Berhad is a bit better. Finally, the last one on this video is the recommendation. Based on the ratio analysis and the findings, this recommendation is to aim for the further improve in financial for the great success of Consortium Transnational Berhad and Perak Transit Berhad. Since the liquidity ratio for KTB is lower than Perak Transit, some ways for KTB to improve its liquidity is by increasing its liquidity ratio, including paying off liabilities, using long-term financing, optimally managing receivables and payables, and cutting back at certain costs. As for activity ratio, where the ratio for Perak Transit is lower than KTB, Perak Transit should take note of some things. Perak Transit Berhad should consider increasing its sales. The company's fixed assets may be producing enough products, but they may not selling it quickly enough. The other solution is by improving its efficiency. The ratio could be low because of the inefficient use of assets. The company should analyze how it uses the assets and ways to improve the productivity of each asset. The company should increase without any significant increase in any other expenses. Next, this is some solution for KTB to consider as its debt ratio is at risk compared to Perak Transit. Among the strategies that can be employed are increasing profitability, better management of inventory, and restructuring of debt. These methods used to lower the ratio are best used in tandem with each other, and if the market timing is right, used in conjunction with a rise in the pricing of their goods or services. Finally, as KTB has way lower profitability ratio compared to Perak Transit, some strategies should be made to improve its performance. One of the strategies is to avoid markdowns by improving inventory visibility. Markdowns are notorious profit killers, so avoid them whenever possible. How to do that? Start by improving how the company manages the inventory. They should always have a handle on the merchandise they have on hand, as well as what fast and slow movers are. This will help the company make better decisions around purchasing, sales, and marketing, allowing them to sell more products and reduce the need for markdowns. So, that's all for me to talk about the analysis of corporate financial performance. Thank you.